Okay, you ready? Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to Plated Conversations. I'm Satina, and on today's episode, I'm going to show you a few of my favorite things. If you've been following my cooking channel or me for a while, you know that I love a bowl just of good yummy stuff, different flavors and textures. I love it. So I'm going to show you how I make some of my basics, because that's been a question a lot of people have had. So I'm going to show you how I prepare it, how I store it, and then just give you an idea of fun bowls to make. Also, my guest today is Dr. Carson. You're going to love her. We're going to have a great conversation. So much to talk about. She kind of requested this, which is going to be good, because being a doctor, in the operating room, just seeing your regular patients, you kind of want something that's going to give you something filling. Probably don't want anything too heavy. I know for me, working in the operating room, I don't like to take like a heavy lunch or anything like that, because then I'm exhausted, you lose focus, you're not doing your best. So follow along and I'll show you how I make everything. So for the chickpeas, I use chickpeas that came out of a can. You are more than welcome to just buy it in bulk, which is great. I like to do things a little bit more efficient because I am a mom, so I don't want to have to worry about, the roasting time and making sure I had enough water and putting it in a big saucepan. I just will buy it by the can, rinse it off really well. You can also use the juice from chickpeas, which is called aquafaba, as an egg replacement. So if you knew that you were going to be doing some baking or something anytime soon, you can definitely store that and use it for later. I rinsed mine, added a little bit of grapeseed oil to it, and seasoned those as well. What's great about the chickpeas and the butternut squash and the lentils and the quinoa, you can give them all their own element of flavor. So if you wanted to do some lemon pepper chickpeas, you could. If you wanted to do some curry butternut squash, you could do that as well. Giving everything its own flavor component is really great, because then you just maximize the flavor and your options of what you have later. For your butternut squash, you'll add your grapeseed oil, your seasoning, use your spoon to tousle it, lay it on parchment paper on a baking sheet, put it in the oven for about 20 minutes on 350, and it should look similar to this after that time. For the quinoa, I love to season my water as soon as it's brought to a boil. So you saw just now I poured the quinoa in there, but this is how the water looks before. Add whatever seasonings you want, go ahead and move everything around, and you'll put the lid on it and let it sit, and it'll be ready in about 20 minutes. Your onion and grapeseed oil, let that saute, add your mushrooms and seasoning, and this is how it'll look. So I'm going to add some coconut aminos to these lentils, and already I have seasoned them, added onion to it. The coconut aminos gives it a really great flavor. You can buy these pre-made at Trader Joe's already, so it's perfect, because what I like to do, it comes in a big pack. I'll chop it in half, use half of it for whatever we're making that night, and put the rest in a glass container. I don't cook that or season it, so that when I make my next recipe, whatever that is going to be, that's how I prefer to season it. So you don't want to already have it like leftovery and tasting like what you made before. It'll be fresh, uncooked, and you can season it however you want to, according to the recipe that you're going to make. These do cook really fast, so you don't want to keep them on the fire a long time, or they will get kind of mushy. Hello everyone, welcome back. So now we are joined by my guest, the beautiful, wonderful, great sense of music. Is that correct? Great sense of music? Great choice in music?
What are you trying to
In
say?
the operating room, we play music, and her music playlist is always good. So that's what I'm trying to say. So, yeah. So we have Dr. Carson here with us. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here today.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you excited to see what's about to happen?
Absolutely.
And what I'm going to ask you?
I am excited.
Are you nervous about any questions?
Should I be?
You shouldn't be.
Okay, very good.
You shouldn't be. Let's start with where you're from.
I'm originally from Kansas City.
Okay.
We moved to San Diego right before the 6th grade, so I grew up here for the most part, but I consider myself a Kansas City girl. I'm a San Diego girl, I'm a Kansas City girl.
Yeah.
It's all in me.
Yeah. So what made you want to become a doctor? I know you said that your mother was a nurse?
My mother's a nurse.
She's a nurse.
So that exposed me to medicine at first.
Okay.
And I had a nurse practitioner who became a mentor for me when I was in high school.
Oh, nice.
And
did she work with your mother?
No, actually she worked for Dr. John Shockley. He was here in San Diego. He's one of the first African-American OBGYNs in San Diego.
Okay, some history right there. Yeah. You guys get that? Okay.
He was, and that's kind of how I met her. So, and I wanted to be a nurse practitioner. So I was admitted to nursing school at first.
Okay.
But my mother encouraged me to be the doctor and told me I could do it. And
Aww.
Convinced me to take all the other math classes I needed to take.
Yeah. So. Did you feel any pressure to be a doctor or in the health field with your mother being in the field?
No, I never felt pressure to be a doctor. I never wanted to be a doctor. I followed her around in the summertime when she was doing home health and things like that. So that was my first exposure
to it. Yeah.
I think that's the important part about kids is being exposed to something and then they know that they
different things. So what made you want to become an OBGYN doctor?
When I was 9 or 10 years old, I was fascinated with pregnant women.
Aww.
Yeah, and I just fell in love with them, and I always wanted to work with them. So.
Are there different kinds of OBGYNs, or?
Well, there's a general OBGYN that does some high risk. And then there is a specialty OBGYN called maternal fetal medicine. And they're the perinatologists. They do high risk pregnancies and things like that.
Okay. Do you want to go into something like that?
I considered it at first because I really enjoyed the ICU. I did a year of medicine before I started my OB residency, and I spent 3 months in the ICU. Okay. And I love the ICU, but I just didn't want to put the time in for fellowship. Yeah. And I love being a surgeon. Yeah. So if I were going to be a medicine specialist, I would never be able to do GYN surgeries. Okay. So I love surgery. You do love surgery, and you're really good at it. Do you remember the first time that we worked together? Yes. Do you? I remember it because I was so nervous because I didn't want to mess up, because I said I'm not going to mess up with this black woman. She is not, like, I'm going to do everything perfect. Not that I don't do it for everyone else, but I wanted to kind of impress her. But I was messing up. Do you remember that I was messing up? No. I was messing up. I usually remember when people mess up. No, okay, so I felt that I was messing up a lot. And what's funny is that I think like probably, I don't know, a year later, you had a young lady come and she was following you. And you introduced her to me and you were like, this is Satina. Her back table and mail stand is always good. And I was like, oh, yay. Oh my gosh. Because that's all I remembered was like, I guess when I first started, or when you first start anything, you always remember when you mess up. And I guess if it's not a big deal to you guys, that person doesn't stick out. So that's good. So I never messed up. It was great. It was beautiful. Great. What would you say is one of your favorite things about being an OBGYN? I think one of my favorite things is just feeling like I'm just talking to very close friends all day. Yeah. So, and I kind of use humor in medicine, whether it's for good or bad things that are happening, and it seems to be, I just laugh all day in my office. Yeah, no, you always laugh, which is good. Even when things are hectic, you'll just be like, yeah, you're really calm, I'll say that. I try to be. The nurses say that when things get worse, when they're at their worst, I seem to be at my calmest. And so they appreciate that. So. I've experienced that. What would you say to someone or to a teenager, kid, whoever? There are even adults going back to school for medicine. So what would you say to someone who thinks they may want to do it, but they're not sure? I think you should try, you know, and I didn't want to do the math. That was because math was never my strong suit in high school and junior high, and so I just ended up getting tutors. Yeah. And, you know, you just have to do what you have to do. So I got the tutors and I was able to get through it. What would you say to keep people going? If they said, I don't know, I want to do it, but, you know, I don't think that I'm smart enough. You would say get a tutor for whatever you felt you were lacking in? Yeah, I mean, you have to have above average intelligence, of course, but... You said you're going to be dumb. But you really have to focus. Okay, so this is a question that I have for pregnant women. What kinds of food or what kind of advice would you give to a pregnant woman that probably doesn't have healthy food readily available to them? I just tell patients to try to make simple changes. Okay. Not just completely, you know, go meatless or something, but just make simple changes. Eat more fruits and vegetables, drink more water, walk after their meals, you know, do a meatless Monday so that you kind of get it used to making a meatless meal once a week, things like that. Do you find that, you know, them eating healthier during pregnancy makes for an easier delivery? I think it makes for easier labor.
Okay.
Because, you know, you have to push. It takes quite a bit of energy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to push for 2 or 3 hours. So if you're really deconditioned, it can be a struggle.
How has COVID affected, I know how it's affected us in the operating room, but how has it affected you being a little bit more hands-on with your patients that, you know, it could be their first pregnancy, they could be afraid, or they could...
But yeah, it's been different. You know, they come in the hospital, they can't leave. They can't order food in. They can't have food delivered. They can't leave the room. They have to eat cafeteria food. You know, the support.
Do they have
person.
to keep their mask on?
They have to keep the mask on at all times. Yeah.
That's
they take it off. You know, when you leave the room, they take it off, of course.
I would definitely be rebellious.
Yeah. So.
What is the youngest patient you've ever delivered and the oldest?
The youngest patient I delivered was 13. Yeah, 13. When I was a resident, there was an 11-year-old who was pregnant.
No.
Yeah, but she was seen by the staff. But 13 was the youngest. The oldest, probably like 49.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. She was amazing. You know, she was a virgin when she got married at 48.
Aww.
Yeah, she was. She waited, and she got pregnant and had her baby the next year.
That's like, she was a good listener to her mother.
Maybe she was.
48?
Yes.
Yeah. That's beautiful. This is my next question. Why do you think there is such a large gap in numbers of Black women who die during pregnancy, childbirth versus other women?
I think it's a complicated issue.
Okay.
Part of it is probably we tend to seek care later sometimes, or our access to care isn't as great in our community. Sometimes the people that are taking care of us don't understand our challenges and our culture, and the way we talk or express ourselves to them. They may not understand it, and so they don't really understand what's happening or what's being said. I think a lot of it has to do with the health of African American women in this country. 70% of us are overweight or obese. And so that increases your risk for having hypertension, diabetes, and complications during pregnancy. We have an increased infection rate as well. So hypertension, the obesity, the infection tend to make us have poorer outcomes.
I see. Do you think that a lot of Black women aren't believed if they were to come in and say that, you know, they were having certain, you know, this hurts or certain pains as opposed to other women? Like, have you seen any of that, or have you ever had to like step in and be like, no, I think we should really look at this? Or
possibly, I think maybe being dismissed. With the
that's
things
a good
that we're
word,
saying.
dismissed.
Just being dismissive of the things that we're saying, or things that the patient is saying or feeling or experiencing.
What tips do you have for women that have recently given birth when it comes to exercise?
What I tell them after they give birth is that, you know, it took 9 months to get the weight on. And it takes about 18 to 24 to get it off.
Oh, good. So I'm January 6th. It's okay.
Yes.
So what bit of advice would you give to women who may be struggling with getting pregnant and they want to be a mother? I know that could be a thing. How do you handle it if you had a woman who's excited about birth and they may miscarry or it's not happening? What tips for those people?
I think, you know, infertility has different causes. I mean, there is a huge percentage of people who are infertile that we don't know what the reason is. But there's basics, testing and things that we do in the beginning to try to figure out what it is. So I just advise women to try to have your baby as early as possible. You know, the older you get, the harder it gets. And women are delaying, you know, marriage and having children until later
for their careers and stuff like that.
And then, you know, they get to be 38, 39, and then they're just starting, and it can be quite difficult.
It can be tough. If you're like 38 or 39, and this is, I would say from a friend, but this is from me, I would love to have another child. Do you think that it would be easier for me to have another child since I already had 2 births as opposed to someone who didn't?
Yes.
Does that factor? Oh, it does?
Yeah, it is easier.
Okay, look at Layla, she's smiling.
She's like, oh no, don't do this
They want me to have a kid so bad. So aside from being a GYN doctor, you also on the side have a separate practice. Tell my audience more about that.
I had an interest in weight loss probably a little bit more than 10 years ago. And so then I was trying to figure out what I could do for my patients that was beneficial to them and that would improve their health.
Okay.
And so I started taking courses on medical weight loss, and then I eventually became board certified in obesity medicine.
Oh, nice.
So I'm double boarded. I'm board certified in obstetrics and gynecology.
You, in the real world, we would call that a double flex. She's like, I'm double. Okay. So
obesity medicine. So it's been great. I enjoy my weight loss practice. I enjoy people's lives changing, seeing older women be able to spend time with their grandkids and things like that.
Which patients would you say would this be a good service for?
Well, I think it's good for all patients.
Okay, so you just don't have to be obese.
No, whether you want to lose 10 pounds,
okay,
or if you need to lose 100 pounds,
okay,
we can still help those patients.
Okay, so what does it entail? Do you want to tell me, or do they need to come see you for those details?
I think I like our program because it's real foods.
Okay.
Because a lot of times patients will gravitate towards processed foods or frozen foods or things that are delivered or packaged. And this teaches patients how to shop, how to cook, how to put together a very quick meal. So that's what we like about our program. It's real food. Some people I think if you just change your mind about a few things, you can change your life and your choices.
Okay, so that's called a word, and that has nothing to do with food. If you change your mind, you can change your life. Like, that's really true. I tell people that with food. Okay, so now is the time for Dr. Carson to try the food. Are you excited? Are you nervous?
I'm extremely excited. It all looks delicious.
So good, so good. So over here, we have some butternut squash. Do you eat butternut squash?
Yes.
Is that your thing? Yeah, okay. We have some chickpeas here. We have an amazing sauce that I made, some cilantro to garnish, some pecans that I put in the air fryer because I love the butteriness it gives, some cherry tomatoes, some sun-dried tomatoes. We also have our lentils, some quinoa, mushrooms, and a spring salad. So what I love about these options are that you can add them and just make a bowl. You can add your salad as the base if you want to, and you can mix and match. You can put everything in your bowl if you're greedy like me, or you can just pick and choose what you want. So I'll let you make your bowl how you want, and I'll make mine, and then we'll try it. I'm so excited for you to try this.
Well, I'm greedy like you, so I'm going to put everything on.
Okay, good. Let's put everything on there. So we just made our bowls. This is mine, this is hers. She's making me look very greedy right now, and I don't appreciate it. But it's okay, it's okay. So let's eat and tell me what you think. My guests go first. So that's like the mushroom I think you had.
That's delicious. The quinoa has a lot of flavor.
Yeah, so that's why I love to season the water rather than just make it in regular water and it's bland. Tell me what you're thinking, what you're tasting. How is it?
I like the butternut squash as well because it gives it a little sweet flavor with the spices. It's delicious.
And I added some allspice to the butternut squash. What are you thinking of the sauce?
It's delicious. It has a kick to it.
So is this something you think you could eat at work?
Absolutely.
And still feel like you can keep going? When you eat good food, do you hear songs or anything playing? Like, I don't know, if I'm eating something good, I start swaying or I start singing.
I think if I made it, I feel that way.
If you made it, okay. Hold on, so you don't feel that way with my food right now?
I hear the song.
Oh, you hear the song, okay. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you got a lot of great information. I hope you enjoyed Dr. Carson and all of the valuable tips and information that she gave you. Make the recipe. If you do, tag me in your picture on Instagram. I'd love to repost it and see how beautiful it looked. If you have any questions about anything, I will definitely have her information below in the comment section so you're able to reach out if you would like to. Thank you so much for joining us.
I loved being here.
Yeah, I love that you keep eating.
I do keep eating.
You like it?
Especially when you turn your head, then I eat real fast.
And then you eat really quick so you don't see. Guys, thank you so much. Have a good day. Really quick before I head out, this is how I packaged up everything for Dr. Carson to take it home for her family to try. At home, I usually have everything in glass containers. That's my famous sauce there. I'll have it in glass containers, fully cooked in the fridge, so you can take it out, make tacos, quinoa wraps, whatever you want to use it for. It's so efficient. I hope you try it, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you again.